The demand. The Galactic Empire's massive warship, Dominion's Fist, dropped out of hyperspace above Earth like a dark omen. Captain Rex stood on the bridge of the human defense station, watching the alien vessel dwarf their entire orbital fleet. The ship was the size of a small moon, its hull covered in weapons that could glass entire continents. Admiral Kate paced behind him, her jaw tight with worry. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Just one," Rex replied, his voice hollow. "But it's enough." The communication array crackled to life. A deep, rumbling voice filled the bridge, translated by their universal systems. "Primitive species of the third planet. I am Commander Thane of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been selected for tribute." Rex stepped forward to the comm station. "This is Captain Rex of Earth Defense Command. State your business." A harsh laugh echoed through the speakers. "Business? There is no business, only compliance. Your species will provide tribute to the Empire. 1 billion of your strongest individuals for labor, all rare minerals from your planet. Complete submission to Imperial law." The bridge fell silent. Kate's hand moved to her sidearm instinctively. Rex kept his voice steady. "And if we refuse? Then your world burns. We have conquered 10,000 species. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our shields. You have one rotation of your planet to decide." The transmission cut off. Rex turned to his crew, seeing fear in their eyes. Earth had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Their weapons were basic plasma cannons and missile arrays. Against the Empire's technology, they were like stones against a tank. "Options?" Kate asked. Lieutenant Mark spoke up from his station. "Sir, our entire fleet has maybe enough firepower to scratch their paint. Intelligence suggests they have shields that can withstand nuclear bombardment." "What about the colonies?" Rex asked. "Mars, Europa, and Titan have been notified. They're preparing evacuation protocols, but there's nowhere to run. The Empire controls most of known space." Rex stared out at the alien ship. Smaller vessels were launching from its bays, taking positions around Earth. Blockade formation. No one gets in or out. "There is another option," said Dr. Lisa from the science station. She was young, brilliant, and usually quiet during tactical meetings. "I've been analyzing their ship's energy signatures." Kate raised an eyebrow. "And?" "They're using standard Imperial technology. Powerful, but predictable. I've been studying captured Empire tech from the outer colonies. There are weaknesses." Rex felt a spark of hope. "What kind of weaknesses?" "Their shields operate on rotating frequencies. If we could synchronize our weapons to hit during the vulnerable microseconds between rotations." "That would require perfect timing across our entire fleet," Mark interrupted. "And we'd still need something powerful enough to matter." Lisa smiled grimly. "I've been working on something. Project Blackout. An electromagnetic pulse weapon that could disrupt their systems, if we can get it close enough." "How close?" Kate asked. "Suicide run close." The bridge went quiet again. Rex processed the information. Earth had always been scrappy. Humans had clawed their way to the stars through determination and stubbornness. But this was different. This was the Galactic Empire, a force that had crushed civilizations far more advanced than Earth. "There's something else," Rex said slowly. "I've been thinking about their demand. 1 billion people, all our resources. They don't just want tribute. They want to break us completely." "Standard Imperial procedure," Kate confirmed. "They don't just conquer. They dominate. Turn entire species into slave labor." Rex made his decision. "Send a message to all colonies. Tell them to prepare for war." "Sir." Mark looked confused. "We can't win a war against the Empire." "Maybe not," Rex said, his voice growing stronger. "But we're human. We don't kneel. We don't surrender our people. If they want 1 billion slaves, they'll have to take them over our dead bodies." Kate smiled grimly. "What's the plan?" "We give them an answer they won't expect," Rex said, moving to the communication station. And then we show them what happens when you threaten Earth. He opened a channel to the Imperial ship. Commander Thane's face appeared on screen. Reptilian features, cold yellow eyes, expression of bored superiority. Have you reached a decision, Primitive? Thane asked. Rex looked directly into the alien's eyes. Yes, we have. He paused, letting the moment stretch. Run. Thane's expression shifted to confusion, then anger. What did you say? Run, Rex repeated, his voice carrying across all frequencies. Run before war comes. Because if you stay, we're going to teach the galaxy that humanity doesn't surrender. We fight. First blood. Commander Thane's laughter boomed across the communication channel. You dare threaten the Galactic Empire. Your pathetic species will learn the price of defiance. The transmission cut off, and immediately, the Dominion's fist began powering up its weapons. Energy readings spiked across every sensor on the defense station. All ships, scatter formation Delta. Rex barked into his comm. Execute blackout protocol. The human fleet, tiny compared to the Imperial behemoth, spread out in seemingly random patterns. But there was method to the madness, each ship moving to predetermined positions that Dr. Lisa had calculated. The Empire ship fired first. Massive energy beams lanced out, instantly vaporizing 2 human destroyers. The remaining fleet opened fire, their weapons barely scratching the alien shields. It's not working, Mark shouted over the alarms. Our weapons aren't even registering damage. Wait for it, Lisa said, her fingers flying over her console. Shield rotation coming up in 3, 2, 1. Now. At that precise moment, the entire human fleet fired in perfect synchronization. For a microsecond, the Empire ship's shields flickered. Plasma bolts struck bare hull, leaving scorch marks, but no real damage. Thane's voice returned, filled with mockery. Is this your grand plan? Insects trying to sting a giant. But Rex was smiling. Phase 1 complete. Lisa, did you get the readings? Got them, she confirmed. Shield frequency mapped. Now I know exactly when they're vulnerable. Good. All ships, retreat to position Beta. Make them come to us. The human fleet pulled back toward Earth's moon, the Imperial ship pursuing slowly, confidently. Thane was playing with them, like a cat with mice. On Luna Base, Admiral Kate watched the tactical display. Rex, whatever you're planning, do it fast. We're losing ships. Trust me, Rex replied. Sometimes the best way to win is to let your enemy think they're winning. The Dominion's fist moved into Luna's orbital space, its weapons charging for another devastating salvo. But as it closed in, hidden weapon platforms on the moon's surface activated. These weren't ordinary weapons. Dr. Lisa had spent months converting mining lasers, planetary defense arrays, and even civilian construction equipment into a coordinated weapon system. Not powerful individually, but together. Fire, Rex commanded. Hundreds of beams lanced out from Luna's surface, all timed to hit during the shield rotation gap. The Empire ship's hull erupted in explosions as the coordinated strike found its mark. For the first time, Thane sounded less confident. Impossible. Your weapons cannot penetrate Imperial armor. We're not trying to penetrate it, Rex replied. We're trying to overload it. The truth was becoming clear. The Empire was used to fighting advanced civilizations with sophisticated weapons. They weren't prepared for humanity's approach, using massive quantities of simple weapons in perfect coordination. All civilian ships begin evacuation runs, Kate ordered from Luna Base. Get our people to the outer colonies. But even as transport ships began fleeing the inner system, more Imperial vessels were arriving. 3 more warships dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding Earth completely. This was expected, Rex said calmly. Phase 2, people. Time to show them what humans do when cornered. Lieutenant Mark looked at him with worry. Sir, we're outnumbered 4-1 now. Numbers don't matter, Rex replied. Determination does. On the main Imperial ship, Commander Thane was studying tactical displays with growing irritation. These humans were proving more troublesome than expected. Their coordination was flawless, their timing perfect. Most species broke under the Empire's initial show of force. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout their system. It appears they're converting civilian infrastructure into weapons." Thane's eyes narrowed. "Explain." "Power plants, communication arrays, even their orbital habitats, they're all being modified for combat use. It's like their entire civilization is becoming a weapon." For the first time in decades of conquest, Thane felt something unusual: uncertainty. Most species had military forces that could be defeated, but these humans seemed to have no distinction between civilian and military infrastructure. Their entire society was adapting for war. "Deploy ground forces to their primary population centers," Thane ordered. "End this quickly." But as the first Imperial landing craft entered Earth's atmosphere, they were met by something unprecedented. Not just military resistance, but coordinated attacks from seemingly every human on the planet. Construction workers wielding modified industrial tools, scientists turning research equipment into weapons, even children helping to coordinate communication networks. Rex watched the data streams flowing in. "They'd wanted tribute," he said quietly. "They got war, and they're about to learn the difference." The swarm, Imperial landing craft, descended toward Earth like metallic rain, but the planet was ready. Every major city had transformed overnight into a fortress. Construction mechs turned into mobile weapons platforms. Civilian communication networks became military coordination systems. Commander Thane watched from orbit as his first wave of ground forces landed in what should have been an easy pacification. Instead, his troops found themselves fighting an entire planet. "Status report," he demanded. "Heavy resistance in all sectors," his ground commander reported. "These humans, they fight differently. No formal military structure. Every civilian is a combatant." In New York, factory worker Jack led a team of modified construction robots against Imperial infantry. The robots weren't designed for combat, but humans were excellent at improvisation. Welding torches became plasma cutters. Cargo lifters became mobile shields. "They're trying to establish a command post in the financial district," Jack reported over his comm. "Moving to intercept." Across the city, teacher Mary coordinated evacuation routes while simultaneously directing repair crews to fix damaged defensive systems. Her classroom had become a tactical command center, with students helping to relay messages across the city's networks. "Sector 7 needs ammunition," came a voice over the radio. "Sector 12 has supplies," Mary replied, pulling up city maps on her tablet. "Routes Alpha and Charlie are clear." The Empire had expected to face armies. Instead, they faced a civilization that had turned warfare into a community project. From his orbital command center, Rex coordinated the planet's defense while simultaneously preparing for the next phase. "Dr. Lisa, status on Project Blackout." "Ready for deployment," she confirmed. "But I need to get close to their command ship. Really close." "How close?" "Inside their shields close." Rex nodded grimly. "What do you need?" "A very fast ship and a very good pilot." Lieutenant Mark stepped forward. "I'll do it." "Mark, this is a suicide mission," Rex warned. Mark shrugged. "So is everything else we're doing. At least this one might actually work." Meanwhile, Admiral Thane was receiving disturbing reports from across the system. Human colonies on Mars had launched their own attacks using converted mining equipment. Europa's ice miners were somehow turning their excavation lasers into long-range weapons. Even tiny research stations were broadcasting jamming signals that interfered with Imperial communications. "How many ships do they have?" Thane asked his tactical officer. "Approximately 200 combat vessels," came the reply. "And we have over 800. So why are we not winning?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lisa's voice crackled over the Imperial communication system. Somehow she had hacked their secure channels. Because you're not fighting ships, she said. You're fighting humanity. Every human in this system is part of our military now. Every tool is a weapon. Every building is a fortress. Every civilian is a soldier. Thane's face darkened. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. We already gave you our answer. Rex's voice joined the transmission. Run. At that moment, Phase 3 began. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, thousands of small craft launched simultaneously. Not warships, converted civilian vessels, mining craft, transport ships, even luxury yachts, all armed with whatever weapons humans could improvise. It's not about the individual ships, Rex explained to his crew as they watched the tactical display. It's about overwhelming their ability to track and target. How do you fight a swarm? The Imperial fleet found itself facing exactly that problem. Their sophisticated targeting systems were designed to track and destroy large military vessels. But these thousands of small craft, attacking from every direction, created a targeting nightmare. Some were destroyed immediately. But for every craft the Empire destroyed, 2 more seemed to appear. And each carried crews willing to sacrifice everything for their world. Mark's modified interceptor slipped through the chaos, heading for the Dominion's fist. In the cargo bay, Dr. Lisa made final adjustments to her electromagnetic pulse weapon. Remember, she told Mark over the comm, you need to get us inside their shield perimeter. The weapon only works at close range. Define close range, Mark replied, weaving between Imperial fire. Ramming distance. Mark was quiet for a moment. Well, I've always wanted to see the inside of an alien spaceship. As they approached the massive Imperial vessel, Lisa activated her device. It began charging, drawing power from the ship's entire electrical system. Rex, she transmitted, tell everyone to get ready. If this works, their shields will drop for exactly 30 seconds. And if it doesn't work? Rex asked. Lisa smiled grimly. Then Mark and I get to be the first humans to crash into an Imperial battleship. Either way, we're making history. Breaking point. Mark's interceptor streaked toward the Dominion's fist at maximum velocity, weaving through a maze of weapons fire. Imperial gunners tracked his approach, but the small ship was fast, and the space around Earth had become a battlefield nightmare of debris and smoke. 60 seconds to impact, Mark announced calmly. Dr. Lisa's electromagnetic pulse device hummed with barely contained energy. Power levels at maximum. This is going to work, Mark. It has to work. And if we survive the crash? We probably won't, Lisa replied matter-of-factly. But humanity will remember we tried. On the command bridge, Rex watched their approach on long-range sensors. Around him, the defense station's crew worked frantically to coordinate Earth's chaotic defense. Every screen showed battles, in space, on the ground, even in the upper atmosphere where converted atmospheric processors had become flying weapons platforms. All ships, prepare for coordinated strike, Rex commanded. The moment their shields drop, hit them with everything. Commander Thane had noticed the approaching interceptor but dismissed it as another futile gesture. One small ship against the Empire's mightiest battleship. Suicide was apparently a human tradition. Sir, his tactical officer reported, that small craft is moving at ramming speed. Let it come, Thane replied. Our shields will vaporize it long before. His words were cut off as Mark's ship struck the shield barrier. Instead of being destroyed, the interceptor seemed to merge with the energy field for a split second. Then Dr. Lisa's weapon activated. The electromagnetic pulse tore through the shield matrix like lightning through water. Every energy conduit on the Dominion's fist overloaded simultaneously. Shield generators exploded. Weapon systems went dark. Even the artificial gravity fluctuated. Shields down, Rex shouted. All ships, attack. The human fleet opened fire with every weapon they had. Plasma cannons, missile salvos, converted mining lasers, even kinetic projectiles launched from magnetic accelerators. The Imperial ship's hull, exposed for the first time, began to buckle under the concentrated assault. But 30 seconds passed quickly. The shields flickered back to life, and the Imperial vessel began returning fire with devastating effect. It worked, Rex breathed, watching damage reports flow in. We actually heard them. On the Dominion's fist, Thane stared at his damage displays in disbelief. Hull breaches on 17 decks. Weapons systems operating at 60%. Most importantly, his air of invincibility was gone. How did they do this? He demanded. His science officer, a thin alien with multiple eyes, spoke nervously. They used our own shield frequency against us. The electromagnetic pulse synchronized with our energy matrix, creating a feedback loop. Impossible. No primitive species could understand Imperial shield technology. Sir, came a transmission from the surface. We need immediate reinforcement on the ground. These humans, they're coordinating attacks across their entire planet. Our forces are being overwhelmed. Thane's jaw tightened. In 300 campaigns, he had never faced resistance like this. Most species had governments that could surrender, military hierarchies that could be defeated. But humanity seemed to have no single point of failure. Every human was a soldier. Every city was a command center. Deploy all ground forces, he ordered. Begin orbital bombardment of their major population centers. But as Imperial warships moved into bombardment positions, they found Earth's orbital space was no longer safe. Thousands of small craft continued to swarm around the larger vessels, making precise targeting impossible. Some carried explosives. Others carried more electromagnetic pulse weapons. A few were just trying to ram Imperial ships. Rex received an urgent transmission from Admiral Kate on Luna Base. Rex, we're tracking more Imperial ships incoming. A lot more. How many? 50 vessels. They're calling in a full battle fleet. Rex felt his heart sink. Earth's desperate gambit had worked once, but against 50 Imperial warships. Even humanity's determination had limits. There's something else, Kate continued. We're receiving transmissions from outside the system. Other species have been monitoring our fight. Rex raised an eyebrow. And some of them sound impressed. Unknown to both humans and the Empire, their battle had become the most watched event in the galaxy. Species that had surrendered to Imperial rule without a fight were seeing something unprecedented. A primitive world standing up to the galaxy's greatest military power. On distant worlds, beings that had forgotten the meaning of resistance began to whisper. If humans could fight back, perhaps they could too. In the Ta system, former Imperial slaves looked up at the sky with something they hadn't felt in generations. Hope. But for now, Earth stood alone against the coming storm. All ships, Rex commanded, prepare for the fight of our lives. The price of freedom. The Imperial reinforcement fleet arrived like a wave of death. 50 warships dropping out of hyperspace in perfect formation. But as they moved toward Earth, something unexpected happened. Ships began appearing from other star systems. Not human ships, but vessels belonging to species the Empire had conquered decades ago. Sir, Commander Thane's communications officer reported, we're receiving multiple transmissions. The Altarian rebels, the Centauri resistance, even some vegan separatists. They're all demanding we withdraw from Earth space. Thane's reptilian features twisted with rage. Impossible. Those species surrendered years ago. But the evidence was undeniable. Across the galaxy, humanity's desperate fight had sparked something the Empire hadn't faced in centuries. Coordinated rebellion. Species that had accepted defeat were suddenly remembering how to fight. Rex received the same intelligence with amazement. Kate, are you seeing this? I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it, Kate replied from Luna Base. Half the galaxy seems to be heading toward Earth. Dr. Lisa's voice crackled over the comm from the medical bay where she was recovering from her successful shield-breaking mission. Maybe they're tired of being afraid. The battle for Earth had become something bigger. News of humanity's refusal to surrender, their conversion of an entire civilization into a military force, had spread faster than Imperial jamming could stop it. For the first time in the Empire's history, their reputation for invincibility was cracking. "Admiral," Rex addressed Kate, "what's our status?" "Not good. We've lost 60% of our fleet. Ground forces are holding, barely. If those 50 Imperial ships attack together, then we make them pay for every meter," Rex replied grimly. But before the reinforced Imperial fleet could attack, the first alien allies arrived. A small fleet of Altarian fighters, outdated and poorly equipped, but carrying crews who had watched humans fight impossible odds and decided to try themselves. Their leader, Captain Nira, hailed Earth's Defense Command. "Human vessels, this is the Free Altarian Fleet. We stand with you." More ships followed. The Centauri sent mining vessels converted to warships. Vegan colonists arrived in converted cargo haulers. None were matched for Imperial technology individually, but together they represented something the Empire had never faced: a united galaxy saying no. Commander Thane found himself commanding the largest fleet in Imperial history, but facing opposition that stretched across multiple star systems. His orders were clear: crush Earth's rebellion before it spread further. But every hour brought more rebel reinforcements. "Sir," his tactical officer warned, "if we engage now, we'll be fighting 100 different species simultaneously. Then we teach them all the price of defiance," Thane snarled. The final battle began at dawn, Earth time. Imperial forces attacked in waves, their superior firepower devastating rebel formations. But for every ship they destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. And the humans, the species that had started this galactic uprising, continued their impossible fight. On Earth's surface, factory worker Jack led his team of construction mechs against Imperial ground forces, now supported by alien resistance fighters who had landed to help defend human cities. Teacher Mary coordinated not just human evacuation routes, but safe passage for wounded aliens who had traveled across the galaxy to stand with humanity. The battle raged for 18 hours. By the end, half the Imperial fleet was destroyed or disabled. But the rebel forces had paid an enormous price. Thousands of ships lost, hundreds of thousands of beings who would never see their homeworlds again. As the surviving Imperial forces retreated, Rex stood on his damaged command bridge, looking out at a solar system littered with debris from 100 different worlds. "Was it worth it?" Kate asked quietly. Rex nodded slowly. "Look at the communications board." Across the galaxy, rebel movements were reporting success. Imperial garrisons were being overrun. Slave worlds were declaring independence. The Empire's 1,000-year reign of terror was collapsing as species after species followed humanity's example. "The Empire wanted tribute," Rex said softly. 1 billion humans, all our resources, complete submission." He paused, watching allied ships from dozens of worlds helping to rescue survivors. Instead, they got a war that freed half the galaxy. In the weeks that followed, as the Galactic Empire crumbled under coordinated rebellion, historians would mark this as the moment when the balance of power shifted forever. Not because humanity was the strongest species, but because they were the first to refuse surrender when surrender seemed logical. Earth had said run before war comes. The Empire hadn't listened. Now they were learning the price of that mistake, and the galaxy was learning the value of hope.